and I'm really excited to see whether we're going to see some secret or unusual strategies here.
Yeah, there actually seems to be a tradition, if we go by the usual stuff. Here are the Sunny Lions, by the way. For those who are just being introduced to them, we have Pow, who had some really quite legendary Divine Shields yesterday. Jaina, who graced us with Jaina yesterday, so pure crowd favorite just for that. Phoebe D with the most troll name for casters. C was a very solid tank, and Eustia was pretty much the one reason his team nearly were able to defeat their opponents yesterday.
Yeah, I've got to give a special shout out to Eustia here. I think his Dehaka was spectacular. It was so cool to see how he constantly found those angles, to surprise the opponents off guard, to really initiate team fights for his team to follow up on, and I think he's definitely one of those hot players to keep an eye out throughout the season. He kind of reminds me of players like Meng, who already are kind of unfamiliar to us, but could really prove to be one of those key players in the league.
Again, completely agreed. Now, as we prepare to see the matching scores, SPT significantly higher KDA than their opponents, unfortunately.
By the way, we can just go through the statistics here real quick because we don't have a translation. So, under KDA, there comes kills on average per game, followed by deaths on average per game, which is very low for SPT, understandably. And then we have, I think it is assists per game.
Probably, and I think the bottom one's experience,
exactly,
or the second from bottom's experience.
Yeah, there we go.
Here are their last few rounds. Sunny Lion were able to draw against SOA, but they did lose to CE and BTG.
Yeah, but fair enough. Sunny Lion probably had some of the roughest schedules possible. I mean, playing against the top 3 and SOA, who admittedly took a game off SPT and looking very, very strong right now. This is basically the hardest of opponents you could possibly have in your beginning week. So it's only going to get easier for them up to this point. But Tetcher, you gave me a quite good reaction here because Dragonshire and SPT, whew.
This map, along with Battlefield of Eternity, are SPT's home. 3-0 in 3 series they have had to play. They have been allowed to this map every single time and are holding up that 100% win rate. Let's see if Sunny Lion can do anything about it, as Sunny Lion yet to even show up here.
Yeah, it's really cool to see how SPT knows how to dominate on Dragonshire, because they are set to be the best team in China when it comes to macro for a reason. And if you have good macro play, if you know how to play around the map on Dragonshire, if you out-rotate your opponents, if you constantly manage to keep possession of those shrines and Dragon Knights, you're going to do very, very well. And I'm really excited to see how they're going to play Dragonshire here on stream and how Sunny Lion is going to play against it. Because if they let that map go through, they must have had something prepared.
They were smiling as the cameras came on, so that's either a acceptance of fate or a small sign of things to come. We will have to see as Hanzo is let through and given over to Sunny Lion by SPT and immediately picked up.
Yeah, there we go. Sunny Lion, of course, with that first pick, they're not going to ask twice about it. Hanzo has made such a dominant impact throughout all the regions. Even in China yesterday, we saw him appear numerous times and usually perform really, really well.
Indeed, they do. So, Sonya and Greymane, like you said, also really good performances, perform consistently. Greymane is basically outside of Hanzo and Genji, the #1 assassin in terms of pick rate, and for very good reason. And the Sonya, the dominating performance in that solo lane. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. As Sunny Lion, they are now, they have several options. You can actually see the pick and ban rate for Hanzo here. Only banned 1 out of 4. Wow, he is let through a lot on this map by the looks of it.
Yeah.
I guess because there's no boss.
Definitely true. I mean, the PvE value for Hanzo is rather limited on this battleground. As you said, there are no bosses, there are no majorly difficult mercenary camps to take, and it's fairly safe to take them in the first place. Like with Hanzo, sometimes on maps where it's a little bit riskier to take mercenary camps, like Infernal Shrines, for example, or Battlefield of Eternity, you can actually clear them so fast, the enemies might not even be aware to get there in time. But on Dragonshire, since the map is rather split in half, you can safely go for your Siege Giants, safely go for your Night Camp without the enemies invading too often.
According to someone from the chat, we already knew C was Butcher. Apparently, Eustia is Neptune, and he's just changed ID.
There we go. That explains a lot.
That's good to know.
Neptune,
That's very good to know.
Yeah, Neptune, he also used to be a part of KT last season, didn't he?
Yes, he did. So it looks like they've just scavenge the shipwrecked remains of KT as they knocked them down in the Crucible. As Jaina does get banned out by SPT, we won't get to see the wonderful Jaina playing Jaina.
All right, and that's exactly something I wanted to talk about. The heavy focus by Chinese teams on Uther. Quite extraordinary in these days where there's a lot of Malfurion going on, a lot of Stukov going on, and I mean, Uther is very unique in a way that he is still good at frontlining compared to other supports, and he provides excellent solo target protection. And against a Hanzo, who's really good at delivering solo target damage, you know, banning out Uther is oftentimes a pretty smart choice.
Indeed, and you actually mentioned the weird priorities. Here's another one. Rhaegar, Malfurion has yet to be picked in the matches we have cast in HGC China, whereas Rhaegar has leapt up in priority. A lot of the times actually getting picked over the Stukov here.
Yeah.
As we see the final 2 picks for Sunny Lion. The Tychus also making his triumphant return, and Dahaka to try and match that Sonya in the solo lane.
Yeah, really solid. The Tychus so far has impressed me quite a bit, and it looks like pro players from all over the globe, they have jumped back, you know, on the Terran train, unleashing a little bit of Tychus here, a little bit of Morales over there, and Tychus in particular, especially with that Odin, he's almost second to none when it comes to controlling choke points and objectives, like the shrines, for example. And of course, he's really good at taking tanks, at shredding tanks, like the Muradin.
Yeah, very true. The Muradin could go down. We actually saw a very effective use of Tychus against the Muradin on Battlefield of Eternity yesterday. So we'll see if the same performance can be put out, or if they're able to potentially blow him up. We'll have to see what the last pick could be.
Yeah, the last pick is probably going to be another ranged assassin. They could definitely need a little bit of wave clear, in my opinion. The Gul'dan could work here. But the false set, of course, we can't forget about the importance of globals, especially when you face a Dahaka.
Yeah, there's been a... since Valor's really fallen off due to the lapse in the double support meta, we're seeing a bit of a lack of really effective auto-attackers. We still have Greymane, Tychus has jumped back up a bit, Hanzo kind of fits in, but a lot of the others seem to struggle. This has resulted in the rise of Cassia and the rise of Falstad, and it's really cool to see.
Yeah, definitely true. With the void that Vala left behind, as you said, other assassins are now stepping up, and I think it's a really good summary you gave us, Tetra, like the Tychus or the Falstad. So, Hanzo is a really special case, though. I mean, you mentioned him being an auto-attacker. I would actually say he's a jack of all trades, right? He brings strong auto-attacks, good wave clear, strong AoE damage, especially if we land those arrows later on. So
depends on the build. It very much does depend on his build. He, as much as people have a little bit of a stigma against Hanzo here, the fact is he does have several versatile builds, especially in the earlier levels, so it's very cool to see.
Yeah, really cool to see. And I'm also excited about Stukov because in my personal humble opinion, I think he's one of the most impactful supports. We actually saw that yesterday for Soa, where they continued to land those big 2, 3, 4-man silences, really swinging around those team fights with it. So also what Stukov really does better than almost any other support is the disengage. And against a Muradin and Sonya and Greymane, you can definitely need those flailing swipes landing.
Very true. However, the counter is very true for SPT as well. They do have Falstad, another great disengage tool. So both of these teams do have those kind of panic buttons as we are heading in to the Dragon Shire and spawning on the left-hand side. Currently, our Chinese champions from last season, it's Super Perfect Team with Qian Zhao playing on the Greymane, Melody C on the Falstad, Misaka on Muradin, Soap on the Sonya, and ZZH is playing the Rhaegar.
And here to put another tint into the record of SPT is Sunny Lion and the Reds with Pao on the Stukov. Jaina plays Tychus, Thebdi on that Hanzo, C playing the Anubarak, and Yusia, formerly known as Neptune, plays this Dahaka that he played so well yesterday again.
He's in position, but Muradin immediate Stormbolt to Scout, and the tongue did actually come out, the animation did happen, but a very nice Stormbolt did prevent Dahaka from really doing anything, and it would not have hit anyway.
Yeah, of course you hear that sound effect after the Brush Stalker, so SPT was fully aware that Yusuf was probably going to sit in that bush here. Already we can see the silence coming. Misaka ends up falling first blood, but Pao in return also taken out.
1 for 1, Ustia is the follow-up target, but they can't burst him down. Both these teams picking up an immediate kill. The problem with this is, it comes out as significantly more value for SPT. Yes, Hanzo's probably going to get a redemption stack, but Falstad has seasoned marksman. He immediately is going to gain more value from this than Hanzo, and his do not disappear if he dies and is ganked.
Yeah, that is a very good point. Once you die on Hanzo, you lose 3 stacks of your auto attack speed buff. And especially if you lose them in the early game, you can really sometimes take a long time until you have them back. In the meantime, we see a gank going down in the top lane.
The aggression from Sunny Lion here picks them up yet another kill, and once again, just like yesterday, we begin to see SPT, their early game appears to be their potential weak points, their potential abusable moments in the game, as they repeatedly, in all the series we watch, seem to lose a hero or two during that time.
Yeah, exactly. You could definitely see a difference in priority making here from both teams. Yeah, there we go. And so, whereas SPT was focusing on getting this night camp very early on, they kind of neglected the killing aspect, which Sunny Lion abused really, really well. They came in for the gank, they executed it perfectly, and then went for the night camp. However, look at the value that SPT is getting here due to that earlier timing. They already took out 1 tower. They secured both Dragon Shrines. Bottom now taken back by Sunny Lion, though. But already, you can really see how the death of Soap was not in vain.
Uh-oh, but in the bot lane, the Haka has come to play. Melody C barrel rolling over the wall here. Ustia looking to chase, but there's no bush near enough to give him that tiny speed boost that he gets from the unstacked level 1 talent.
Yeah, very good escape here by Melody C. And speaking of Melody C here for a bit, we mentioned it yesterday very briefly. It's so cool to see him on those playmaking heroes like Falstad again, or Genji.
Agreed.
Because in the last season, he was oftentimes locked on that Tassadar because he was so necessary to many team comps SPT like to run. And keep an eye out for Melody C, guys. We can't mention this oftentimes enough. He's one of the most advanced and most skilled players when it comes to raw mechanics in the game.
He actually has been having a little bit of trouble in this bot lane, though, Hanzo. Putting on a pretty dominant performance, basically forcing Melody C to play dodge the arrow repeatedly in this lane. If Melody C wants any kind of control over the objective.
Yeah, and what's really cool to see here is as well that Misaka went for 3rd wind at level 1 on the Muradin, which basically allows him to regenerate more health after not taking damage for a few seconds. And this is really good to keep him in combat so he doesn't have to go back that much, so he doesn't have to use the healing fountains too much. And so plays super carefully. He knows the moment you don't see too many members of Sunny Lion on the minimap, they're probably going to come for the solo lane again.
So we actually did see Chen Zhao there, actually missing a couple bits of micro, taking a fair amount of siege camp damage. As such, he did have to port back to base. But luckily, all the lanes are being held, all the lanes are being soaked, and nothing's really being lost here. He's just going to rotate up to top and try and help Sonya capture that area.
Now Melody C is getting assaulted by 3 heroes. Can he make it out alive? The barrel roll is good. He takes a little bit more poke damage from Hanzo, but overall, he managed to not die, and that's very important. And I really gotta say, I like the mercenary timing here by SPT, constantly keeping Sunny Lion busy, constantly pressuring the buildings. I think SPT is playing the map really well, which is something we highlighted earlier, and they have a 3-0 record in this season on Dragonshire for a reason.
They do. They lost a couple heroes. They're struggling in some scenarios, but they are crushing in others. This top lane especially. Great use of the mercenary camp earlier, followed up by an aggressive push from 2 of the best pushers and solo laners in the game onto the Dahaka with the aggressive play onto the fort, and they are able to take control. A almost full level lead here coming in for SPT, and now they are pressuring both the fort and the Dragon Knight. Pick your poison, Sunny Lion.
Exactly. Now the silence is good, the cleanse comes out, but Soap is still not out of harm's way completely.
The heal from ZZH, though, keeps him alive. He's still in here, but Hanzo coming in from below. Falstad moving in here as well. Down goes Greymane and Sonya between a rock and a hard place here. The second Hanzo saw Melody C had moved from this Dragon Knight, he moved straight up to help his team, and they shred through the members of SPT, giving them 0 opportunity to escape.
I think Soap must have forgotten that Ancestor Healing is not available just yet because none of the teams is level 10, because he went in like a mad woman, sitting at 20% health on that Sonya, and still he was spinning in again, taking so much damage. With an Ancestral, maybe he could have survived, but without it, it was a little bit of a reckless maneuver. But that's why we love China. Those teams are not willing to leave a team fight until it is absolutely necessary.
SPT moving in, trying to poke Misaka, who I believe has already used his Dwarf Toss, but here comes the rest of SPT looking to make the play. The full 5-man rotation here. Jaina gets deleted by that Poison Spear. C gets taken down as well. And the decisive action from SPT here, taking a couple hits early in the game. They know it takes a really big move like this to put themselves back ahead. And as such, they hit level 10.
Yeah, and Sonya Soap immediately making his way up to that top Dragon Shrine because they really want to make sure to get that first objective into their hands. Beautiful stun, waiting until the burrow has been come over. The body blocks are real, but the silences are too strong. Look at the slows as well. ZZH making it out alive barely, just barely. Level 10 is here now, though. The heroic abilities are ready. Misaka takes it. The grenade comes just a second too late.
Trying the quarterback, was not able to land it. Now, interesting thing here. Look at Falstad and Sonya. They haven't picked their heroics yet. This could be the setup for a potential combo, but they're holding it for now. Very interesting to see. But yeah, unlucky on Tychus there, trying to get that quarterback in, but was unable to do so. And also, just a quick shout back even further to that Dahaka escaping. The Stukov, beautiful silence to give him the opportunity, followed up by that Dark Swarm, which does make you unbody blockable. Was able to walk straight through. There's Leap. Here comes the Dragon Strike. Doesn't land as they move on. Dragon's Arrow Story. Eustia gets taken down here. Here's the Hinterland Blast for Falstad. Pops the Cocoon. He has it available. Can he line them up and set them up? He can't. They're happy with just their Dahaka kill.
And I really, really like this choice, actually, by Falstad, by Melody C, going for the Hinterland Blast, which offers a significant amount of burst damage against immobile targets in particular. And look at the team of Sunny Lion. If there's no wall nearby, Hanzo's an easy target. Stukov, if he catches him while he's channeling his lurking arm, easy peasy lemon squeezy. And also Tychus could be a juicy target. So overall, with all that lockdown by Sonya, Muradin, and the slow totem by Rhaegar, I think this could be a pretty wild choice.
Yeah, I'm trying to work out if this was maybe a reaction to a talent pick, because they held it right up until Sunny Lion picked their heroics. What could have been the trigger for that?
I'm not really sure what the trigger could have been. I think it's more of a just a situational pick here because they're already 2 levels ahead, and maybe judging by the flow of the game, they're like, hey, we're feeling really comfortable here, so let's just go for something crazy.
Leap is up in 1 second. As such, they are raiding the camp. Hinterland hits 2 members here as C gets taken down, but so does Sonya. The camp is stolen. Misaka trying to make more plays, but the nice flaming swipe from Pal there zones all the damage. Misaka might not be able to finish the job alone here. They're trying, though. Good goes, and the Storm Bolt. That's going to be yet another kill for SPT.
Yeah, beautifully done. Misaka holding the front line, tanking through most of that damage. Really, really well done.
Oh, never mind. I was about to say, what a dodge from Dahaka, but immediately invalidated by the kill of SPT.
And if you take a look at Misaka on the Muradin here, as he pops the Avatar and gets saved by ZZH, it is one of his best heroes by far. There's hardly anyone in HGC China that plays Muradin the way he does. And a couple of seconds earlier here, we saw an all-out team fight over a Siege Giant camp, Tetra. That is so stereotypical for HGC China. This region prioritizes team fights and brawling, even for minor objectives like a Siege Giant camp, over everything else.
For SPT, it made a lot of sense, though. They were ahead, they had a talent advantage, and it was a beautiful choke point to try and set up for this Hinterland combo that they are trying to pull off. Really am quite a fan of that.
Yeah, and of course, speaking of that Hinterland Blast Leap combo, that's exactly what you want to have in those choke points, preferably, but even in an open team fight. If you landed on the high priority targets in the backline here from Sunny Lion, on a Stukov, on a Hanzo, you're good to go. And the Greyman, of course, with the Go For It Throat, it's an insane amount of burst damage coming in from SPT. And guess what? Stukov, if he doesn't have his trait ready, is not the best of burst healers available.
Very true. He didn't actually go for
Oh, here it is!
Hinterland. Goodbye, Hanzo. That's going to feel lethargic for a lot of Hero League players in the chat. The Cocoon is dropped on Greymane, trying to give everyone else the chance to escape. Falstad tries to slow C, but he is already too far away. But the blow-up, the one-man Hinterland Blast gets SPT another kill. That, I think, is just to remove the redemption stacks.
I think so too, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, that is how you deal with Hanzo. You lock him down. Oftentimes you pick specific heroes that counter him, like the Genji. But if you don't have Genji, because he's such a high priority ban these days, you just go for CC. You lock him down, especially on a wide open map like Dragonshire, where he can't use his trait immediately to escape.
Dirty misses Gust. He gets Ancestral.
Oh, no way.
CC barrel roll the shield. Not enough. Last attack from Ustia as they move forward. The rest of SPT have arrived, though, looking to punish such insolence. They get one. They might get two. The Dwarf launch from Misaka to chase it down. ZZH makes behind the wall with a cheeky B step. And C and Feed B are in full retreat.
Yeah, Hanzo Trade coming in here. Murder jumping over the wall, though. He's relentless. Can they get C? No. Too much mobility on the side of Sunny Lion, but I think SPT can be very happy about that outcome nonetheless, because Dragon Knight number 2 is theirs again.
Yeah, and with the, for those who don't know, who haven't seen Falstad in a while, especially Hinterland Falstad in a while, it now has a 25-second cooldown reduction for each targeted hits, which is why it's only just coming off cooldown now, because in the last fight, it only hit one target. So comes the Dragon Breath from the Dragon Knight. They're going to try and make a play onto the bot lane, the best lane to set up this kind of push in, due to the fact that, one, it's not got a Death Bridge, but two, it's got 3 mercenary camps in it.
Exactly. We see crazy combos with Falstads hitting the entire enemy team, casting another Hinterland Blast immediately, and so on and so forth. But for now, the Dragon Shire is trying to get some value. In the meantime, another Hinterland Blast. Hanzo says bye-bye.
And again, it took an auto attack or two from Falstad, but it was enough. And Greymane picks up the kill on the Anub'arak as well as SPT moving in with 0 worries. 3 versus 5 on the core. Odin goes for a ride, and that is gonna be it, Kendrick. GG in game number 1. Going over to SPT.
Yeah, well played by SPT right there. They are showing us why they are the champions of China for a reason. And Sunny Lion, after a pretty spectacular first 5 minutes, I would say, into the game, actually pressuring so many different lanes on multiple fronts, they just crumbled under that constant pressure.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. We saw an interesting strategy from SPT, the exact kind of thing they used to run before they got into their, like, a hardcore straight down the line meta play.